They thought that I was on drugs and I dropped some drugs out of my pocket.
Just in their head.
In their heads, they thought I was a right idiot. Love you, big bro.
Cool. I'm not going to say it back because that's cringy.
We're just a couple of business anchors. Welcome to the Business Anchors podcast. This jingle is slightly too long. This jingle is slightly too long.
Welcome to the Business Anchors podcast. We're your host, international keynote speaker Dan Knowlton, and the brother of an international keynote speaker, Lloyd Knowlton. In this episode, we're going to be revealing some of the secrets about how to get paid as a speaker, some of the horror stories we've experienced with speakers at events. Oh, I can never do this bit, can I? Some of the horror stories we've experienced at events, and we'll be sharing our funniest stories from social media marketing world in San Diego, where Dan was speaking last week, because he's an influencer, you know.
Oh, God.
Aren't you?
Nope.
Yep, he's very influential, and he was being very influential in San Diego. Loving it. So,
Welcome.
Public speaking. I feel like,
This is going to be a good topic, I feel.
Yeah, well, we're doing a podcast about public speaking. I feel like people listening probably won't want to hear from me because, you know.
No, but the good thing is you've got experience from someone who comes to those events and holds my bags. So
I see what we did there. Yes, yeah, I do that. Yeah, and all the. Oh, can you check me into this hotel, Lloyd? I'll just be in the spa. Come and get me. Yeah, that's the sort of thing that goes on.
Yeah.
But my input to events, as in being there with you, I feel like a major advantage of doing it is that I feel like we've got a lot of value from meeting people in person at these events.
100%.
And kind of, I think it's really positive anyway. And we spoke about that in the first one, the first podcast. I think how that's really good. But the fact that you're also a speaker, I mean, weirdly, this is a bit cringy, but it gives you a bit of credibility before you even have any conversations with people. So I think that helps as well.
Yeah.
I don't know what you think.
But I think there's nothing better if you want to build a relationship than actually meeting someone face to face. And you can instantly I know you instantly judge someone on their character, and you instantly know if it's the type of person that their values sort of align with yours or not. Whereas online, you can appear to be the loveliest, nicest person in the world, but you're just typing it. Or I suppose if you're on video, you can still act on video, but it's very difficult to pretend to be a nice person, or not just a nice person, but pretend to be interested in something particular face to face. You can and you're a good judge of character, aren't you?
Yeah, and also I think there's been some speakers that we've not met, but we've seen online, like doing a talk on stage and posting it on YouTube or something, and doing this kind of thing, podcasts and stuff. And there's been people we've thought like, oh, they seem really good. And some of them you meet, and it's a really nice feeling because you're like, oh, they're really good and they're lovely people, and it sounds like they're actually good at what they're talking about. And then there's the other side where sometimes you meet people that you think, oh yeah, I've seen brilliant videos.
Name them.
Dan Knowlton. No, I won't name any. But like in all walks of life, sometimes you meet people and it's a bit of a like, I thought they were going to be really nice.
But not even that. What I find it more funny of an experience is when you you meet someone online. We've had an experience where you feel like you know someone from watching their videos, and then you meet them in person, and sometimes you meet someone, and not that they're horrible, but they just do completely different.
Yeah.
Like you're like, wow, you are just totally not who I thought you were. Yeah. But not in a bad way necessarily.
No, I do think that's interesting. Where I think some people are just 100% themselves on stage, which I think actually
that's difficult.
It's hard to do.
It is difficult because of
is,
nerves. And
yeah. Whereas some people, like you said, there's all the way in between. But the other end of the scale, like you said, you meet someone and they're just a completely different person.
I certainly, for the first probably 10 speaking gigs I did, I totally wasn't myself.
Yeah.
I was just not me at all.
Yeah. I think a lot of people want to get into public speaking for like the glitz and the glamour, and kind of like almost like that.
Do people actually think that?
No, but like in
glitz
your,
and glamour,
in your kind of industry, it's like, oh, these people are respected. Oh, I bet that feels nice to be like, the well-known people in your like. We all have our little bubbles of what we're working on. No, but I feel that's what attracts a lot of people, but I think in reality that's not actually a reality, and the value you actually get is what we've said about meeting people rather than being like, oh, I'm this well-known person.
But I think in the UK that's less of a thing, but definitely when we've gone over to the USA, it seems like some of the people, not like me, but other speakers who are more well-known than me, some of the attendees like literally think they're God, and
well,
they.
Dan, last year someone did ask you to sign an autograph. So,
Hey Marissa.
Hey
She
Marissa.
listens to the podcast.
Yeah. So don't talk yourself down.
No, but I mean, you could tell that some of the. I think I remember at Social Media Marketing World there was Jasmine Starr, who was one of the keynotes, and there was literally like a line. Remember, we walked past. There was a line of like 100 people waiting just to get a photo with her.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, that's.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know. I find that hard to relate to because I don't even get like that for kind of A-list celebrity. If Brad Pitt walked past me, I think I'd be like, "Oh, did you see that?" not.
No, I bet you there's people that you would, get a bit of butterflies if you walk past who you actually really respect.
Yeah, there are people that I
Like who?
respect, and if
Like who? I bet there is some people out there that you would.
all right, didn't realise this was a test.
I want to know,
Obviously, the
Lloyd.
person I respect most is Dan Knowlton, and every time I speak to him, I get butterflies. It's so awkward. No, but there are actually people at Social Media Marketing World in San Diego last week that I really respect and look up to, and they were speaking at the event. So Travis Chambers, who runs an agency in the US,
He was a really cool guy.
The videos that they produce are brilliant, and I really look up to that and aspire to do what they're doing. People I've learned stuff about YouTube and online video from, like Tim Schmoyer and Roberto Blake. But actually, I saw all of those people. Travis Chambers, we had a nice conversation with.
Actually, to be fair, you didn't get all kind of weird and nervous or anything. You were just...
And the other two I saw at the event, but I just saw them there and thought,
Yeah.
oh, that's Tim Schmoyer.
They're here.
Yeah, they're here.
You're like, oh my God, can you sign me?
I just
sign
feel
my chest.
It would be strange to go, oh, hi, Tim. Hi. I love your stuff. Because I think any normal reaction to that is just going to be like, oh, thanks.
Yeah.
But it's just a bit weird and awkward,
Yeah.
isn't it? But I don't know. And what I found really interesting was
Go on.
we met some lovely people in San Diego, two of which, Laura Moore and Laura Davis.
Oh, they were really nice.
The Hub. And they were lovely, but it was really interesting to hear that they actually
such
had
a good story.
a bit of a negative view of Dan before they met us. And we, was it the first night or the second night there? We got invited onto this party bus with Content Cal and Quick.
That was really good fun.
CC, Quick.
Yeah, Quick CC.
And so I went up to the room half an hour before to meet Dan because we were going to be going there. He was fast asleep in his pants in bed, jet lag. But then, went there and
I made it in the end. I got ready quickly.
Dan arrived, and we didn't know this was happening at this point, but apparently the two Lauras. Sorry.
Go on.
No, apparently the two Lauras were thinking, oh no, he's sat next to me.
I'll give you my perspective once you've explained what they thought.
So they were thinking, oh no, Dan Knowlton sat next to me. Oh, he's such a dick.
Yeah.
Oh no.
So they actually thought that. So I had no idea. And I'd like to think I'm a nice person, Lloyd. I don't know. You may say differently.
No, it's fine that you like to think that.
But I sat next to them, and I didn't speak to them for a bit. Where we were speaking to someone else that we knew, and then I sort of told them, "Oh, hi, you're right. What do you do?" Just had a lovely chat and everything, and they were just very
lovely from your point of view.
Lovely from my point of view. Very friendly. I was like, "Oh, they're nice. Two Lauras. Oh, they're from the UK. Cool."
Yeah.
Anyway, I didn't think anything of it. And we were speaking to other people on the party bus. Eventually went back to the hotel. I think it was the next night. We met them and saw them again. Oh, hello. And I think we'd all had quite a few drinks. I think Laura number 2 was drinking pints of wine, but I won't tell you which Laura that was. But no, we'd all had a few drinks, and they the truth started to come out. And they said, oh, Dan, do you not remember me messaging you a while ago? And I thought,
Dan thought, I'm an influencer. I don't remember who messages me.
No, but being honest, I respond to quite a few messages, and it's very difficult to remember every single person you reply to. So, and I'm not just being a twat.
Yeah.
That's actually true.
I even find that, and I only get about 2 messages a month.
And then I remembered, Laura, one of the Lauras actually messaged me asking, they've got a really great community of social media managers, asking if I wanted to do an online webinar training thing for their community. And I think, and like everyone, you have to weigh up your time and where you invest it. We now get asked to do a lot of things, and I think we have to be very clever how we prioritise our time to ensure we're not doing things that may not be right for our business.
Yeah. And we have got better at being focused on what we're actually trying to do with our business rather than just saying yes to everything that sounds exciting.
And very nice of the two Lauras, asked me if I wanted to come and...
Did you think it's very nice of them at the time? Did you?
But I think they caught me at a time when I think I was just in a bad mood, so it probably wasn't my best self. And I replied a long message, but I started the message with, "Thank you very much." I know they're going to say that they're going to quote me exactly, but it was something like, "Thank you, this is great, but I don't mean to sound like a dick, but what's in it for me?" I didn't. That really sounds awful, me saying that out loud. But there was more context.
Cringy. It sounds very
There was more
cringy,
context to the message, but I basically had to say we got asked to do a lot of things, and it would probably take me to prepare a great bespoke training. It would probably take me days to prepare and deliver something that I was proud of.
Yeah.
So and I think they very politely replied, "Oh, no worries, it's not for you." Anyway,
just in their head.
in their heads, they thought I was a right idiot.
Yeah.
So we met them and they had a few drinks, and then they basically told us that story and said, "Oh, we thought you were a right idiot." But they then said, "Since we've met you in person and we've hung out with you, we think you're incredible."
So Dan...
they didn't say that.
No, that was an exact quote. Said, "We think Dan Knowlton is absolutely fantastic."
No, they just said, "Oh, you're actually all right," which is a nice compliment from them. But but what's interesting is we actually hung out with literally the whole week with them out of anyone, and we had such a great time, and they're really lovely people, and we're going to stay friends, I'm sure.
And that's what I
Please
meant.
stay friends with us.
Yeah. Hi, Laura's. That's what I meant about the value being in actually meeting people, because I don't think we could have ever had the relationship that we've built with them purely online.
Messaging or
And as we saw, like with them, not only could we not have the good relationship, we would have carried on having them thinking like
we're idiots. Oh, sorry, I mean, not you.
It wasn't me. I think it was just
they didn't know who you were because you're in the background.
Yeah, they had no idea I existed. So probably just as bad. But I think that's really the value. I guess, being in the digital marketing world, we don't say to people, "Oh, go networking all the time and meet people." That's the best way to, because I guess it's not as scalable as what we suggest doing online.
I think it's one piece of the marketing puzzle, though.
Yeah.
It needs to be something, meeting people.
Yeah. And I guess it's meeting people in the right places at the right time, the right sort of people that are going to be valuable for you both, and you're both going to enjoy. And
I remember when I started 5 years ago, and I keep mentioning my dad, and I know he listens. Hi, Dad, we love you.
Hi, Dad.
I remember when I started, and I was just stuck in their office, just online doing marketing stuff, and he gave me a really good piece of advice. He was like, "Dan, you need to get out of the office and meet people at least once or twice a week." And I was like, "Well, I don't need to do that." And then I realised, when you actually meet people, you build stronger relationships, even from people that you've met online.
And so much of your time when you start business is just being shut in a room.
Yeah.
Probably like your spare bedroom or your kitchen or a little office that you've rented without speaking to anyone. Like we've said, these actually meeting people and speaking at these events is an opportunity to meet people. That's brilliant. If you never see anyone, that's not going to happen. So.
And you can practice your communication skills of even talking about what you're doing, especially if you're new in business.
Yeah.
I remember when I had phone calls initially talking about the business, I would literally get so nervous, just as nervous as speaking on stage, because I didn't really know what I was saying or doing.
Yeah,
it's
kind of
really...
like the practice even talking to people with like the first steps of
so
public
weird,
speaking. It's like, first, can I actually confidently...
What do you do then?
Yeah, it's hard though. I remember when I started out...
You were rubbish at it when you started.
Yeah, without a doubt. They said, "What do you do?" And I was like, marketing, digital. And yeah, it's weird.
Yeah.
But we're going to be talking more, giving away more of the kind of public speaking secrets of how...
So much stuff that goes on that people don't know.
Yeah. How kind of tips on how you could potentially become a speaker in the future if you're interested in that. And also, like Dan said, the secrets behind closed doors of what goes on at these kind of events and stuff when you're a speaker.
It's an interesting world.
But first, we're a bit quirky.
Say this every time.
So we introduce a drink every time for the podcast, and this week it's Dan's time. So
yay.
Dan, while you get the drink, I'll just tell everyone, if you don't rate and review this podcast, but you listen to it in full, each time a puppy dies. So
that is horrible.
Yeah, I know, it's horrible. Imagine these people that haven't been rating and reviewing. That happens every single time. So just make sure, if you're liking this podcast...
Oh, Lloyd, I think that's literally going to make people unsubscribe, now you've said that.
Well, it's not me making them. Anyway, we'd love you to rate and review the podcast on Apple Podcasts or subscribe on Spotify. And please tell your friends and colleagues and family, if you are enjoying this, we've so far we've been meeting people here and last week in the USA that are saying they're loving it, and it's lovely to hear. So
Yeah.
we'd love you to help
There's
us
three
out. 'cause
people. It was
we're,
nice to
yeah,
hear.
yeah, the two Lauras and May King telling us they liked it. There's three people. We can
Charlie
say
said he liked it.
three
As well, Charlie Lawrence.
4 people in the USA. Don't tell anyone they're from the UK and just went there for the event.
Yeah.
No, but actually, our USA listeners have gone up since
good.
the last episode. So hi,
Hi,
Americans.
Can I introduce my drink now?
Yes.
Now you've stopped trying to do
Sorry.
calls to action.
Sorry.
Jeez. Boring. Right, so what I've got here is a delicious... I haven't actually tried this before. Anyone heard of Naked Drinks?
I'm going to have to respond.
Go on.
Yes, I have.
If you're
I'm the
listening in a
only one
car or on a run or somewhere and you've
Yeah,
had a
make
naked
sure
drink,
you respond
say,
to Dan.
Wayo. Ready?
Wayo.
Okay, so Naked Drinks. I discovered this with a hangover. You know they do the really green one. It's like a kind of a smoothie thing, sort of like innocent drinks but different.
I like the green one.
The green one's good for hangovers. But what I realised was they have loads of sugar in, and crazy amounts
really?
of calories. So
Well, yeah.
they now do lean ones,
Ooh.
which still have loads of sugar in but less sugar.
Right.
And this one is a peach and ginger smoothie version. It's new. And the reason I got it this morning from Sainsbury's is because it's reduced from $2.50 to $1.69.
Oh.
So
right.
cheers to that.
Cheers. So we've got naked, lean, peach and ginger. Could you hear that satisfaction? Oh.
I mean, it's all right. Anyway,
Yeah. Nice. Good drink choice, Dan.
yeah. Naked, if you want to sponsor us, it's
I mean, I majorly prefer that from episode 2 when you brought me the energy drink.
Oh, and you had
Which
heart
just made me a
palpitations.
bit crazy.
Yeah,
So thanks for that.
that's right.
Lovely. So now we are giving away Dan Nelson, international keynote speakers, public speaking secrets. Oh, to get inside this influencer's brain. What a treat.
So what do you want to know?
Well, tell us your secrets then. Go on,
Okay.
how do we all become international keynote speakers then?
Well, I think it's first of all, I think it's important that there's two types of speaker that and again, just to tee things up, I'm not the best public speaker in the world. I don't think I'm amazing.
No, I mean top 5, but not.
I can only go through my experience of doing a number of events over the last 5 years. So I'm not think I'm Tony
Yeah.
Robbins or anything.
I think that, yeah.
So I'm not oh yeah, I'm the
Because
best.
this could be another thing, with the Lauras where they thought we were dicks. I mean, when we have these conversations, we know we're not the world leaders. But
We're
I
just
suppose
saying it from our
other
own
people
experience.
listening might think that we think
Yeah.
that.
Okay, so
Yeah.
first of all, just to tee things up.
Yeah.
So
Dan's a shit speaker.
So, from my experience, and again, if you're listening, I'd be interested if you have a similar experience or not. There's two types of public speaker. The first type of public speaker is let's get the most vulnerable and easily manipulated people in a room and use NLP
I'll be there.
tactics to sell them stuff they don't need.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean when I'm saying that?
Yeah. I
So
know.
NLP's like kind of, everyone put your hand up so
Yeah, it's
that you
those
agree
things.
with me, and then
Yeah.
you buy my thing at the end, which is overinflated.
Yeah, if you agree like loads of
Yeah.
times, your brain starts thinking, "Oh, I want to do."
And if you're listening and you do NLP, I don't hate you. This isn't a targeted attack at you. I just don't agree that you should be using something to manipulate an audience into doing something they don't really want to do. So that's just my opinion. But I've been to see speakers and they do these things where they're like, right, yeah, come on everyone. They give some good value away, but then they just focus on the hard sell. And then at the end, it's like, this course was £1 million. Now it's 99p if you go to the back of the room.
Oh, that's a great.
Well, it's not 99p. It's like 1997.
There's an admin fee of 1,796.
Yeah, exactly. And then they kind of they literally take you to the cash point, and I've heard horror stories of that sort of thing. So that's the one type of speaker. And there's people that have built hugely successful, way more successful than us, businesses around doing that, because lots of people buy into these things.
Yeah. It's easy to manipulate the vulnerable people. Yeah.
So that's one type of speaker from my experience. Second type of speaker is the type of speaker that usually will get paid a fee. So that first type of speaker, usually doesn't get paid a fee from my experience, and they earn money through selling stuff on the stage.
Sometimes the really big ones get
Yeah,
paid.
yeah,
big
of course,
fees, but
yeah.
Yeah.
Tony Robbins gets paid to do it.
Yeah.
So then there's the other type of speaker from my experience that gets paid, but is focused around making sure the audience have a good time, and they learn something, they have fun, and it's a fun experience.
Just all round good experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And usually the speaker's getting the value because they're getting paid, or they're speaking at a very big credible event that positions them as an expert. And they're not allowed, and most of the good events don't allow you to sell on stage because I don't know if you've I'm sure you have, Lloyd, because you're similar to me, but when someone's selling on stage, it sort of makes you feel horrible inside, and I just really don't like the experience.
I just switch off immediately and think, I don't really trust anything you've said before this, because now I've realised you're here to just try and get my money.
Yeah.
That's my kind of feeling when that happens.
Exactly. But
so which type of speaker are you?
I'd like to think, well, I know I've never tried to sell anything on stage, and I don't even know any NLP tactics. Is it called NLP? Yeah.
So, yeah.
Neuro-linguistic programming.
Yeah. I was just about to say that sound clever, so I'm pretty annoyed that you said it.
So no, I don't think I've never. But so I've really focused on trying to provide value and well, obviously when I started, I was really rubbish at it, and it wasn't probably enjoyable to watch. But hopefully over the last few years, I've got a bit better. And
I think you have got a bit better. Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah, a little bit. I'd say so.
Good.
But so that's kind of. I think that's interesting because I don't think everyone realizes that there's those kind of two ends of the spectrum.
Yeah.
But like coming from a point of not looking at those massive, well-known speakers in the world that are much better than you. What about like starting out from day one? Because I think the gap between that and people selling courses for $2,000 on stage, or just getting paid lots of money to be on stage, is very different to someone sitting in a room thinking, "I reckon I could be a good speaker."
Oh, okay, yeah.
Like where?
But I started like that.
But that's what I'm saying. Like starting out, like how do you get from that thinking, I hope I can be a good speaker?
I'll tell you a quick backstory. So I remember when I started in business 5 years ago or so, I went to this social media event called Get Social Kent, which was run by a lovely lady called Zoe Cairns, who was a social media specialist and speaker. And I watched her first event I've ever been to, really. I watched her speak at that event, and I looked around the room, and there was probably, I don't know exact numbers, it's probably 150, 200 people hanging off every word she was saying. And I was thinking, wow, this is incredible. Look at, at me as someone who's starting out a business. I want people to listen to me because I want to sell them stuff eventually, and I want to build trust and relationship.
You're one of them, are you?
No, but over time you want to.
It's all coming out.
People who you can help. You want to build a relationship and sell them stuff. That's how business works. Lloyd, there's lesson 101 in business.
Thanks. I'll take that note. Cheers, mate. Thank you. So good working with such an influential keynote speaker.
So anyway, I went up to her after that event. I went up to her and said, I'd love to sit down and speak to you and just ask you, how have you done this? Because I know, even though I'm really scared, I need to do what you're doing because, Anyway, I sat down with her. She gave me some advice to start with a local, contact the local Chamber of Commerce and start speaking at some very small events. I started doing that.
But that doesn't sound very flashy and cool.
No, it wasn't. And it was horrible. The first one I did was, it was a speaking gig about how to grow followers on Twitter, I think, about 5 or 6 years ago. 5 or 6 people in the room. And I could hardly even speak because I was profusely sweating, and I had a real bad problem when I started with my breathing. So
really?
I would, for some reason, I don't think I've ever told you this.
No.
So I for some reason, my brain just wouldn't tell me to breathe in and out. I just hold my breath for so long that then I couldn't speak properly because I needed to breathe.
I'm sure this was great to watch. It's like, this guy's just been stood on stage for 30 seconds. He's going redder and redder.
No, but it's true, and it was awful. But
I have to say, I can relate to that. So I remember this. So my international keynote speaking was in Canterbury at my university course, just speaking to the rest of like the class of 30 people in a seminar. And I remember I delivered a presentation, and normally I'm very confident, but I remember a couple of times feeling like that, thinking, why am I breathing like this? Why is this happening? And it's a weird. I think it is that kind of your like the fight or flight thinking of, this is scary.
It's so weird how your body reacts to that situation and you can't control it. I remember
I feel like this would be putting off anyone that wants to be a speaker.
No, okay. No.
If you can hold your breath for a 45-minute keynote, you'll be fine.
No, we're talking about the worry. There's so many positives.
Yeah.
We're starting out with the
Yeah.
But so did that, and then just continued to do more and more and more and more and more. And eventually, it's just like training a muscle, like going to the gym. You start to, and
what's that? Sorry,
what the gym? It's this place you go to exercise, Lloyd.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
So, but yeah, I mean, and there's so many. There's nothing in terms of the benefits. There's nothing more powerful or more of a better feeling than actually connecting with an audience and sharing a message and getting a feeling back that you're actually helping people and getting a response. And in terms of business benefits, you know, on social media, you're creating content to grab people's attention. Imagine if you could hold a group of 50, 100 people's attention for 30 minutes, 45 minutes. On social media, people are just scrolling past you within seconds unless you grab them. Now, they're forced to be in that room, so they have to listen to you.
Yeah, I suppose, and also that's... if you're speaking at the right events, you know, at first you probably speak to anyone.
Yeah.
But if you get to a point where you speak at the right events, it's kind of the exact sort of people for your business that will be valuable to speak to.
And if you have the approach that, if you know, number one tip that I learned instantly is purely focus everything, all your preparation in providing value for the audience and making them have a really fun time. If you just focus on that and prepare, then, and you don't even think about the benefits you're going to get or who can I meet and speak to, you just focus on that, then it avoids you thinking, oh, what do I need to say to try and sell myself, which no one wants to see. Yeah. And then it can really help. So it's not, it's, oh, I can't even say any words. What a great podcast, Lloyd.
Oh, imagine listening to that for an hour. No, but so we're at a point now where, very fortunate where, we still speak at some events. Keep saying we. Dan still speaks at some events for free, but also we have opportunities where we can charge thousands for you to go and speak somewhere. But there seems like a big gap between speaking at your Chamber of Commerce and charging thousands of pounds to speak somewhere overseas and then flying you out and staying in a nice hotel and getting paid decent.
But that gap is just doing more speaking engagements consistently and to bigger audiences.
I thought you were just going to stop there. That gap is just doing more.
No, doing more to bigger audiences and getting better, and then you actually have some leverage to start to say to events, hey, event, you know, pay me 500 quid, or you know, and I think we still weigh up the value of, like you mentioned, there's still some big kind of events that we speak at that are very credible that never pay any speakers and will speak there because of how credible they are. Yeah, but then there's others which we charge a lot of money.
I think people would be surprised at like how far down the line of doing it when normally you start getting opportunities to be paid. I think people would be disappointed to find out that normally it's a long time until you start getting offered any money. And, you know, it starts out small. It's not going to be anything exciting. Well, it's exciting the first time someone wants to pay you. I remember the first time that happened with you, and that was a good stage. But I think people would think that they could speak at a couple of events and then start charging.
I just can't. Well, I can't fathom it, but I couldn't imagine just having a business of being a public speaker. Like I know there's people who are smashing it doing that, but I just think it's such a dog eat dog world, and especially now with the coronavirus and things, I feel like there's a huge risk. Like imagine if all of your revenue is from public speaking, just all the events are getting cancelled. A lot of events
are being cancelled. I was thinking that I'm happy
South
that
by Southwest in Austin, huge.
I'm happy we set up our business with multiple revenue streams because
we spoke about this the other day, didn't we?
Yeah, I mean, thankfully we're in a position where you could not speak anywhere this year and we could carry on doing the other stuff we're doing to make money. But some people, it's their sole thing that they do. So something like this is
or
big risk,
any business that's revolved around large public gatherings, like sports events, or you know, conferences. Like it's worrying. I genuinely think it's worrying, and I know it makes you think like there could be something that we haven't even thought of with our business. That the government kills the internet and you're not allowed to use that. I know we'd figure out.
Oh, that sounds like a great idea, Boris Johnson.
No,
take Dan's advice.
No, but you know that obviously not that. But there could be something that happens that we would never even have considered, and we have to completely rethink our business. But I feel like hopefully we'd rethink it. And
So I know you're the international keynote speaker, but having supported you and worked with you through this process,
we work together. It's not just you.
I've got a 5-step process into how to be a good speaker.
I'm intrigued.
Do you want to hear it? Okay. So I'll go through the 5 steps.
Okay.
And then I'll go deeper into it.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
But step 1, do it loads for free. Step 2, get genuine feedback and improve. Step 3, don't rely on the exposure of the event. Get 100 times exposure by videoing it and posting it online. Step 5. Oh no! Oh, I've mucked that up. This is why I'm not a speaker.
The number 4 comes after 3, right?
Between 3 and 5. Okay, yeah. Step 4, optimize a speaker page on your website.
Yeah.
And step 5, don't be a dick. So,
do you know what? I was expecting that to be complete rubbish from you, but in terms of that was really practical.
Yeah, good.
I like that.
I think we've already spoken about the number 1, do it loads for free. I think that's something that people want to get, like everything in the world. People want to get paid much earlier than they probably deserve it, because after 2 or 3 times doing a talk, you're probably not good enough to get paid. And that's the reality of everyone, and you did much more than 2 or 3. Getting genuine feedback and improve. I think this is the missing link for almost every person that tries to be a speaker that can get paid and stuff. I think we're in a fortunate position where we're brothers and can be very honest with each other
without offending each other.
So in the early days, after every talk, if I was there, because a lot of time I was either videoing Dan or I was
We'd
just
have a
there.
debrief, wouldn't we?
Yeah, and I would be honest with Dan. I'd say the good bits, but I mean, in the earlier stages, there was probably just as many bad bits as good bits. Now it's
there's still bad bits.
Yeah, now it's normally there might be one thing where I say, oh, maybe you could do this.
Yeah.
But I think that was a major thing, because you had someone you could trust to give you honest feedback.
Yeah.
Because if no one did that, you would be roughly the same level of public speaker.
It's so interesting to hear these tips from you. I never thought you actually soak all this up. It's really interesting, seriously.
Well, I've been there the whole time.
So. No, you have.
Yeah. So I do think if you can get anyone that you can trust in the room that can really give you honest feedback and not get offended, because that's what I really think has helped. And also, not just me saying it to you, but the fact we videoed it, you can see it yourself.
Yeah.
Because
then you can
which
point
can
it out.
be cringy watching yourself. But yeah, I think that's been a major way that you've improved. And I think other people really miss that.
I've got some more. I've got some tips I've thought of.
Oh,
have you got some more?
No. I was just going to go into more detail.
Go into more detail, please do.
Listeners, if you want more detail, say more detail. Okay, yeah, fine, cool, will do. The not relying on the exposure of the event thing, I think that's been a huge thing. So in an event, a lot of the events Dan's spoken at, there could be in the last 3 years, there could be anywhere between 40 and 1,000 people probably. And so if you're in a room where there's, it's the lower end of the scale, like 100 people, 50 people, 100 people, in reality, the effort you've probably put in for your business might not be worth it just to get your message across to those 50 to 100 people. But what we've done along the way has been videoing it and posting that online. And then you can do anything with that video. If you even just get that to double the amount of people, you've effectively had double the amount of people in that audience. And I think that's really helped us progress. And we've had a lot of people contact you about speaking because they've seen those videos, not because they've been in the room at another event. Yeah.
There's even less than that. I remember doing an event last year. It was a paid for event, private event, but I'm not going to name anything, but the event organisers introduced invited a load of clients and didn't sort of follow up properly, and there was about 12 people in there.
Oh, okay.
But it was fully paid for a decent rate.
Yeah.
But I mean, it sucks when you prepare something and you really want to deliver it and have an audience and then you're like, oh wait.
So to have the opportunity to then do that and still think, okay, well I can put it online and have thousands of people see it if I do.
I definitely think you're right. Capitalising on the talk itself through creating content, and
then you can be happy to speak at an event with 12 people and know that you're going to get huge value from it. So and I think the optimizing a speaker page on your website for us, I mean, once people you get to the point where people start contacting you, Dan's got a page on our website which really does a good job at convincing people. Loads of feedback from over the years, people that watch
videos of me speaking.
So anything an event organizer would need to make a decision, because if on your website or LinkedIn or whatever you're literally just saying, I'm a public speaker, it's going to be very hard for someone to make the decision.
How
to
do I
book
trust that you are one?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Whereas if people see,
I'm a builder.
See 100 people. Oh yeah. I need an extension. If you see 100 people saying good stuff, and then you see evidence of 4 different talks, like, oh, that's interesting.
I think the most, just from I've learned from loads of other speakers, from an outsider's perspective, when I wasn't really that much of a speaker, the most powerful thing that has impact is videos of you speaking, because there's no better evidence than a video showing what you deliver on a stage.
Yeah.
Have you got more, are you going to go into more depth?
Well, no. The only one, the next one was "Don't be a dick."
Okay.
That's more again when you start speaking at events. I think Dan's been asked back at lots of events, and when we've met people, then been asked to speak at additional events because you're a nice person.
But at the same time, I also don't resonate with lots of people. There's probably events I speak at with.
I mean, the two Lauras, you certainly
Exactly.
didn't initially. Yeah.
There's probably other events that people are in this audience looking for good speakers, and they see me and think, "Nah, it's not a bit
That's
of me."
not what. But
you know,
I think that is the case. You're not going to be the right speaker for
you want
every
to attract
event.
the right people and repel the wrong ones.
Yeah. So I've got a question for you, Dan.
Go
that
on.
I think a lot of people, because like I said, I think a lot of people are interested in the paid speaking thing,
Yep.
and will do the work to get there, and that's understandable. For a lot of people, that's a goal, and I think that's a cool thing to do. But what do you do when someone says, "Oh, how much would you charge to do a 60-minute talk on building aquariums?" When you're an aquarium expert, how do you know how much to say without scaring them off or without not charging enough?
That's a really, really good question.
I'm so good at questions.
And I guess all I can go from is my own experience, which the way I've done it is to, first of all, build relationships with other speakers who are more experienced than you and ask them. Because I had no clue what to even say, if I should be charging 50p or 10 grand. You know,
so we just went with 50p and everyone says yes.
Yeah, now we're £10 in airs.
Yeah, cool, Dan. Well said.
No, but we built with, like, for example, Andrew and Pete in the early days, speaking to them and even just speaking at other events for free, and there'd be more credible speakers there that were way better than me. I'd just build a relationship and say, like, just be a sponge and say, please teach me how do you price your. And I think it's, for us, it's been building up. So first massive chunk of speaking for a year or more, free, never charging, then charging a couple of £100, 500 quid. Then eventually you get bigger, more private events, like a few thousand, and then you can actually start to charge a few more thousand.
Yeah.
And I think it's understanding the value you provide as well, and being confident in the value you provide. You don't just pluck numbers out of thin air. Like with it, I think a lot of people underestimate the preparation. I literally spend weeks sometimes in preparing, obviously for speaking.
Yeah.
I think I over prepare, because the worst feeling on this planet for me would be being on stage and people having a rubbish time and me feeling that sinking feeling of, oh no, everyone's not. So it takes a lot of time. So I think that time you need to charge for.
Yeah, because I don't think people think about that time, because you could look at, I'm doing a half an hour talk and getting paid thousands. So that hourly rate, that's good.
Quality, isn't it?
But in reality, I mean, a
Days
lot of the events you go to, firstly, it takes probably 4 or 5 days
and
out
our
of
team
your
working
schedule.
towards it to develop the slide deck and our input, both of our strategic input to how the talk's going to be shaped. And
so there is a lot more work, I think, behind the scenes that you've got to think about. So also when you're thinking about charging, also think what other work have I got to put into this to make it good, and don't think, I'm only getting paid £200, I'm not going to put loads of effort in. It's like, well, if you've got that
I put the
attitude,
same amount of effort in then, because I just wanted to get better.
And we still do for the free events.
Yeah,
we still do put that effort in, because it's still, we've decided it's worth it for us. So why would you not put the effort in to make it the best it could be?
There's also a couple of things that have come to mind that really helped me. A book from a guy called Chris Anderson. Do you know who he is, Lloyd?
No, but he probably doesn't know who I am either.
No, I don't think many people do. You heard of TED?
Yeah, great guy.
TED Talks. He's the founder, or he bought it or something. But he wrote a book called TED Talks, the official guide to public speaking, or TED Guide to Public Speaking.
Okay.
And he's the audiobook, just a little tip, he's got a really interesting voice to listen to. You know when you listen to audiobooks and it's really someone really annoying and it's not enjoyable?
Yeah. Yeah, I know that.
Oh, well. He actually has a really kind of it's just lovely on your ears when you listen to it. And also he says incredibly valuable stuff. Like one nugget that I learned from him, which just was so powerful to me, was that when you speak on a stage, everyone in the audience, you want to share your ideas with that audience. You want your ideas from your brain to go into their brain, but everyone has a guard up in that audience when you step onto the stage. Everyone's judging you. And the way you break down that guard, rather than being an obnoxious, I'm the best speaker, here's about me, the guard will stay up. You show vulnerability and you open up and say, look, I'm not perfect. Here's,
That must be hard when you are perfect though, Dan.
It is sometimes, but you find imperfections. I kind of take inspiration from you and think about all the rubbish stuff you've done, and I just share that.
Yeah, cool.
But yeah, that's a really good book to listen to or read, definitely.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. So we have a little part of our podcast called, and this week it's called Lloyd's an Anchor. And this is where Dan will have a short rant about something to do with me that he's not happy about, and we'll all just kind of we'll all judge me and judge him and see who's if I'm deserving of this rant.
We said
not.
we're honest and open. We want to share the real side of running a business together.
Yeah.
So, okay, you ready?
I'm ready. Hit me.
Do you know what I'm going to say or not?
No.
Okay.
There's so many things. It could be.
So I want to make this week's rant a theme, and the theme is called Lloyd not doing stuff he's supposed to do. So we'll start with, and remember, Lloyd, I'm going to talk about this, and then you can, after that, reveal your reasons as to why I'm wrong.
Excuses. Eh?
So starting out, Friday before we go to Social Media Marketing World, we need to get the podcast edited. So Lloyd, I've got meetings in London all day, and then I'm meeting Lloyd in the evening in London. Lloyd needs to edit the podcast so that we get it done in time in the day. Lloyd doesn't finish editing the podcast, gets excited and leaves work early, gets the train and thinks he's going to... Did you not leave work early, sorry, Lloyd? Leave work on time?
Well, but I had my laptop to work
So he had his laptop
train.
to work on the train to finish editing the podcast so we can get what we need to get done so the podcast comes out on time. He gets the train, obviously didn't work out on the train for some reason, the laptop wasn't working, gets to the hotel, doesn't finish editing the podcast isn't edited, ready to be going out when it is. Get to America. Plenty of time to finish editing the podcast. Lloyd doesn't do it. He just goes out and gets drunk every night. No, I'm joking. That's an exaggeration. But no, he doesn't finish editing the podcast.
Thank you. Objection, Your Honour.
So also, whilst we're in San Diego, Lloyd's supposed to be shooting 3 vlogs that we can then send to our editor to be edited so that they can edit it at night so the vlog goes out in the day.
This juice has given me indigestion.
Sorry, Lloyd. Anyway, so we do 1 vlog. Lloyd... does actually stay up all night, not all night, but I come to the room and he's fallen asleep on a chair because he spent 9 hours trying to upload the footage through Dropbox because it's such slow internet. So then we don't shoot 2 other Lloyd shoots me, record me speaking on stage, but we don't edit those vlogs. They don't go out. He could have found someone with good internet speed to do it, but he just doesn't. We get home, the podcast goes out late.
Sorry.
What else? Yesterday we had a new employee start, Lauren, who's lovely. Hi, Lauren. And we were supposed to use the projector, but he didn't sort it out, and he was supposed to organise that. So
that wasn't me.
But other than that, I just want to say,
you literally spent about 3 minutes.
Other than that, do you know what? It is tough sometimes to find bad things because we get on so well, and I really appreciate working with you. And you've got plenty of positives.
I feel like Dan realised he was going to get backlash from really going in that time, so he then ended it with it. So everyone's going, "Oh, Dan was so lovely speaking like that with Lloyd."
No.
So overall, we're saying me not doing things that I say I'm going to do.
Just do a couple of things.
Okay. I mean, the reasons for that not happening won't be interesting for the podcast, but I need to defend myself. So, listeners, for the next 30 seconds, this won't be valuable to you, but it needs to be said. So, the laptop had issues that's made me unable to edit the podcast. The internet speed at the Grand Manchester Hyatt in San Diego,
although it's $300 a night,
so slow. Even though it's $325 a night, was so slow that you can't do anything. And also, because I'm travelling with Dan, international keynote speaker, in case you don't know, I had lots of other things to do, like carry his bags, buy his sun cream for him. prepare meals for him, apologise when the meals weren't quite right. No, I don't really do that stuff. But yeah, we did have a lot going on.
No, we did.
But
It was.
I understand that was on me, and that
Yeah.
didn't get done. So. And at the end I need to do what you do so people like me. Oh, but Dan, I completely understand. You're such a good person to work with, and I really love you and stuff.
Oh, love you, big bro.
Cool. I'm not going to say it back because that's cringy. I'll just think it. So
Moving on.
yeah, so talking about San Diego,
Yep.
we did have, for those of you who don't know, Social Media Marketing World is a big event in San Diego. There was 4,000 people there this year, I think. Dan was speaking there. And yeah, massive in our kind of social media marketing industry. So a really good one to be at, and we had a lot of fun. Yeah, a lot of fun as well as good work stuff.
Do you know
so
what?
that's a
It
good
was,
balance.
yeah, it was a lot of good relationship building, just meeting people and hanging out. And I think, like we said before, you can kind of go to this thing with the approach of, I'm going to get 10 meetings set up with 10 people who are going to help me with my business. We went with the thought of, I'm speaking there, so that's helping build credibility and awareness of our brand. But we didn't set up meetings and stuff like that, did we?
I met someone that had that approach, Dan.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Oh, no. It's
And
not who I think it is.
Yeah, and
Oh, please tell this story.
this was probably the moment that made me laugh the most in the whole event, and was also the cringiest point and could have been horrible.
Oh, no.
So we were at, I think it was the first night where they kind of put a not networking thing, but like an evening event on where everyone at the event could come, and it was in our hotel bar, which was very convenient for us. That was great. But so this, having chats with people.
2 Lauras were there?
Laura's, of course, Charlie Lawrence and...
Making? She was floating around?
Yeah. I was just going to try and remember the name of Charlie Lawrence's person that was... Liam? Oh, this is... I mean, I shouldn't...
No. His videographer, he was lovely.
Yeah, he was really nice, which is why I wanted to get his name right. So, Liam, if you're listening, tell us what your real name is. Oh, that's bad.
Oh, you're a horrible person.
I'm not... Well, do you remember?
Moving on.
Okay. So having lovely chats with people that are really nice, like I said, including Liam or another name. And this lady comes over to the group and sort of really smiley and stuff. And I thought, this is nice. Who's this? I don't know this person. I thought maybe someone else knows them, but kind of she started chatting. Someone realised, oh no, she doesn't know anyone. I think she spoke to Laura at first.
Laura 1 or Laura 2?
Laura 2.
Okay.
And then she sort of said, she fobbed her off and said, oh, Lloyd would be interested in that sign.
Right.
Cheers, Laura. And then she started talking to me, and she was really smiling, just kind of saying, oh, what are you doing? And I was like, oh,
What are you doing?
No, not what are you doing? Sorry.
What are you doing?
What do you do? As in, what do you do for work? Yeah. She,
Wait, what are you doing?
she said, what do you do? And I thought, oh, this is nice. What a great way to start a conversation, asking a question about the other person.
Yeah.
Conversations 101.
Yeah.
Um,
That was, she was
and
taught
then
that in
I-
our sales training.
Yeah, and then I sort of started responding, and I'm quite a good judge of people, and I realised when I
She
was
was reading a
when I was
script.
responding, she was doing a very fake smile, like she absolutely loved what I was saying and nodding. Oh yeah, yeah. Oh great, yeah, like that. And I was thinking, oh, you're trying to be very enthusiastic, but you don't give a shit what my answer is right now.
Yeah.
And so at that point, I was thinking, okay, this is a bit
How long
weird.
did this go on for? This
was
nodding.
Well, I mean, I cut my answer short.
Oh, okay.
Short about 35 minutes after talking about myself. No. Then after her question that she didn't give a shit about the answer to,
Yeah.
and she pretended to listen and nodded like, oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Then the next words were, you might be interested in working with our business. I was like, oh. In my head, I'm thinking, I don't think I will be. So she went on to talk about their services and what they deliver, and I switched to her face. So I go, oh yeah. But I was much less enthusiastic because I was already getting a bit angry that
She's
I don't know.
clearly-
I suppose I shouldn't get angry, but I don't like the fake side of people pretending to
Yeah.
be interested in talking to you just to try and
Sell you
sell to
something.
you. And because we're so far from that,
Yeah.
it just annoyed me.
Yeah,
and I was
yeah.
having lovely conversations with genuinely
And
nice
then
people.
someone kind of interrupted
Someone
you. And
interrupted to try and sell to us all.
yeah.
What are you
Um,
doing?
So then I think she realised that I was
Switched off.
I was polite but blunt and said, "Oh no, that's not something that we
Go
would,
away.
That's not something we'd be interested in working with, and
Yeah.
and she said, okay, we'll take my card anyway. And I was thinking,
Why?
I've just told you I'm not going to, but great, thank you. And then she went on to the next person, I think possibly Charlie, who was standing
As in the
next to
same
me.
script, did she read?
Yeah, so I could tell, I can see next to me. Oh yeah, so interesting. Oh yeah. And I was thinking, oh, poor Charlie.
Yeah.
So I shouldn't be, this shouldn't make me this angry, but I was like, I was just annoyed that had happened.
Yeah.
And so I discreetly, there was a bin near us, so I discreetly screwed up the business card and I tried to throw it into the recycling bin.
Saving the planet. I like it.
Because I thought, I have no use of this, and she's annoyed me, so I'm not.
Yeah.
It's not like I'm going to call her tomorrow and go, "Oh, lovely to meet you."
Yeah.
But so I tried to throw it in the recycling bin.
What happened next?
But this was devastating at the time and made me feel like a complete dick. So it bounced around the recycling bin, like off the rim, like one of those basketball shots that it doesn't quite go in, and then bounced back and basically landed next to the feet of this lady that was still there.
So it literally looked like you'd screwed up and thrown at her feet.
Yes, so
that is really out of order.
No, I know. And even if I didn't like someone or they annoyed me, I would never screw up the business card and throw it at their feet. So my heart dropped. Like it was in slow motion. I saw it bouncing towards her. I thought,
because if did she see it?
She's going to look down and see that. So I dived onto the floor
Yeah.
to make sure she didn't see it. Because as much as I didn't like her selling to me, I don't want to be horrible to her.
No,
she's
not at all.
She's just a person doing her thing.
Yeah.
She's got her reasons for doing that.
Yeah.
And that's fine. So I dived onto the floor, and everyone kind of was looking at me like, "What's he doing on the floor?" And then I picked it up, hid it, and thankfully she didn't see, because I would have felt terrible.
But she's listened to the story now, so then she's already heard.
Yeah, and then the people around me going, "What are you doing? What was that you grabbed?" And someone even said, "Was that drugs?" They thought that I was on drugs, and I dropped some drugs out of my pocket, and I was. At the same time of trying not to tell them I said, "I'll tell you in a minute." They go, "It's drugs, isn't it?" It's drugs. And I'm like, "No, I'm not doing drugs. That's not." So, I just felt so terrible, but I saved it. But that was just so cringy. And I hope people understand that I would never intentionally, that's almost
you're so lucky she didn't see it, because that I would have actually felt horrible.
Do you know what I would have done if she saw, even though that she's not my cup of tea?
Unscrewed it and...
No,
would you become a client?
No, I would have really apologised. Probably bought her loads of drinks at the bar.
On which card, Lloyd? The company card.
On the company card to try and make it better. So I'm glad that didn't happen. But yeah, that was...
I've got an equally funny story. Well, it's probably not as funny, but it involves you.
It's probably hilarious then if it
Do you remember? This was so random. We'd gone back to the room, I think, to get ready. And I was laying on the bed, and you'd had a shower, and you were getting dressed. And then I just heard laughter so loud from you, just on your own laughter. Yeah. And I was thinking, he's literally in the bathroom on his own. And it was when I know you're really laughing because it is just so loud and cackly. And I was like, "What are you doing? What are you doing in there?" He went, "You won't believe it. You won't believe this." He went, "I've ordered a new top from ASOS, and look at this." And you came out. Please, if you're listening to this, where did we post it? We posted a picture, I think, on...
Well, we'll edit this photo into the video of this podcast on YouTube.
Just look at this.
Lauren, remember that. But yeah, so have a look on YouTube if you are listening.
What it was it was a long sleeve top, but the sleeve started at the bottom of the top.
So it looked like it had no sleeves. So I just looked like...
You go like that and put your arm... Oh, so you can't... If you put your arms out, the sleeves are like a triangle going down to the bottom of the top.
So I just looked like a huge round man, which I am, but just without arms, just with hands coming out the side.
Because you bought it from ASOS, but you hadn't tried it on.
Yeah, I bought a couple of things and just shoved them in my case. And then I thought, oh yeah, I'll wear that. I thought it was a T-shirt. Wear that today. But do you know what? I completely understand. I'm not the most attractive man in the world.
No.
I'm not going to be a model. But I was trying to imagine the best looking man I could think wearing that top. I still don't think he could pull it off.
No.
I don't understand who would wear that.
Brad Pitt, could he pull it off?
No, definitely not. Brad Pitt, if you're listening, probably are. We'll send it to you and send us a picture.
It was terrible though. Yeah. But it was hilarious that you actually bought that.
Yeah, have a look at our social media, Knowlton Marketing and Dan Nelson stuff. It's on there somewhere, but if you're not watching the video. But yeah, that was embarrassing. I mean, I'm glad you were trying to convince me, wear it. You got to wear it out.
No, because it would have been so hilarious just seeing people's reactions to you.
I look bad enough as it is. I can't go around wearing the worst top.
We also what else did we do? We went to a baseball game that wasn't a baseball game.
Yeah, I organised that. Yeah.
Yeah, Lloyd was organising a day of fun, so we went to a baseball game. So went to the stadium.
Yeah,
It was a
all
bit empty,
exciting,
wasn't it?
'cause
Why is
it was the day
empty?
before the event, so we actually had one full day in San Diego where we weren't working, which was great.
Yeah.
So we were like, let's try and do some fun stuff. We just had a really long flight yesterday. Yeah, so I thought, baseball, because we wanted a typical American culture-y kind of thing. And got there and thought, it seems a bit quiet. And then there's a bit of the stadium you could actually see from outside. And I was,
No one's there.
the seats are empty. Maybe that's just a section they're not using for this game.
It was. You
And
could hear a
then,
pin drop as well. So
yeah. Then we realised there's not even any players. So it's definitely not...
there was a game though.
So the San Diego Padres were playing 300 miles away in Phoenix, Arizona. So
we almost
'cause
bought tickets online.
I actually looked on my phone. I'm sure it's on. I could see the score. Then I was looking over at the pitch. You could see a bit of. I was like,
Yeah, where are they
hang on, they are playing. Maybe they're the other side. No, they're in Phoenix.
Yeah,
So-
but overall we had a good time, didn't we?
Yeah, really good.
It was a
time.
really good time.
I've got one final question.
Go on then.
To do with speaking and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, this is something I've been thinking about, especially after this event. I feel like there's a huge amount of speakers that are really brilliant to watch, and I watched and listened to some of them at this event, and really valuable, and you can just tell they know what they're talking about. And have been there, done it, and you can really learn from. So like half an hour with them, and you've got as much value as if you did a course for 2 months, or if you tried to learn online for ages. But there's also the speakers that are good at speaking, so good at public speaking, but actually aren't as clued up in what they do. So that you sit there and you can enjoy it, but you don't actually know that what they're talking about isn't maybe as good as another speaker who isn't as polished. But is actually knows what they're doing, is a real expert. So firstly, I was thinking, do you have any tips on how people watching these speakers can tell between just a really good person at public speaking and someone who really is brilliant and knows what they're doing? And secondly, I was wondering, if you meet any of these people that you think like, they really don't know what they're doing, how do you approach that when you're in, because Dan's in like VIP speaker rooms that we're not allowed in, and he's like schmoozing with all these other speakers there, champagne and caviar, and
I'm literally not.
They just like rub each other's head. Oh, you were so good. Oh no, you're so good. Oh, we're such good speakers.
That really doesn't happen.
And then sometimes they just talk about all the commoners outside.
Yeah.
Like, shut that door. I can smell them.
That's the complete opposite of what happens. But
okay, I've never been in there, so this is just what I think happens in there.
I'll just chuck you some scraps of the bones from the food left over.
Yeah, thank you. Didn't know caviar had bones.
I think it's tough sometimes, because unless you know the topic really. I think we know other speakers in the marketing world who are good at speaking but don't really know what they're talking about, because we know. I like to think we know what we're talking about, and we've got experience of running campaigns. And if someone mentions a technical thing, we're kind of about what we're good at, social video, then we sort of can think, that isn't right. But I don't know. I think looking for or listening and trying to find evidence. But then even saying that, some speakers will say like, the case study of this good thing we did, and how credible is it? And I think looking like if it's a marketing speaker or a speaker on a certain topic, and they say they're good at something, then look online and look at their content, to see if they're kind of got good evidence to show that they can do what they say they can. But it's a tough. But okay, saying that, devil's advocate, if they're entertaining the audience, then what's wrong with that? But I suppose it's like, are they giving them good,
I think I've just
valuable advice?
Being in the speaker circles, when I just follow you around, I guess I've
You don't
realised
follow me around.
I've realised that
People are actually going to think this.
well, someone's got to carry your bags.
Yeah.
No, I think I've just realised that there are some people that I've seen speaking stuff that actually know crazily more than I even thought, and have done so much and got so much experience. And then there is the other end, but on stage they can look and sound very similar. So I think it's very hard to judge.
I think you probably have to do your research. There's some speakers who I watch all their content and I follow everything they do, and you and then there's some I go to do that, and then I think, there's not much meat on the bone here. There's not much evidence of
But like
running-
you said, if you are more going for entertainment and learning a little bit, I suppose
Yeah.
if someone's just good at speaking, then that'll be an enjoyable
Yeah.
experience, won't it?
I'm sure there's speakers I've seen that are really entertaining.
Hmm.
But yeah.
I've I don't know if you've got anything more to say, Dan, but I've got a final story that I just feel it's a bad experience of me speaking,
Go
and
on.
I feel like it will make people feel better if they've
on
had
then.
any bad experiences.
I'm
So
intrigued.
I got asked to go on a panel, an event that in London in this big high-rise building and it was a big event for travel agents.
Yeah.
And so I thought a panel. So I've been on quite a few of these panels. It's basically, if you're not quite good enough to be a speaker, they ask you. No. It's like, if you haven't seen a panel, 3 or 4 people getting asked questions from the audience or someone who's leading it that are supposed to be experts in their kind of field. And I find them quite interesting, actually. There's normally some interesting conversations. So I got asked to do this. I thought, yeah, that'd be great. It was about digital marketing for all these travel agents from all around the world. And so I got there, got into the room, thought, oh, this looks good. Yeah, well, there's quite a lot of people here. This is good. Great. Got there, and then the lady that was leading it stood up and said, so we've got our 3 panellists here. What we're going to do, we're going to get them up here, get them to do their 10 to 15 minute presentation.
Oh, you're
and
joking.
Then, and then afterwards, if we've got any questions for the panel, you can ask them, and we'll go around with the
I didn't
microphone.
even know that.
And in my head, I was first, just my heart started a bit like Dan when he was saying about his breathing difficulties. I think I kind of got into that mode of, how do I make up a 15-minute talk in about 30 seconds? Because I was in the middle, so I thought I'm probably going to be picked second here, so I've got maximum 15 minutes to. And I was also feeling a bit frustrated because I was thinking no one at any point said that they want. I just specifically asked, "What do you want from me? I'm happy to prepare anything." And they said, "Oh no, just come. It's just a panel." So so I stood up. I had 15 minutes to think about stuff. I in that 15 minutes, I think I just was sweating a lot, really red, and just probably had massive sweat patches. So just a normal day for me, really. I eventually got up. I think I spoke for about 5 minutes. I in that 15
By
minutes,
spoke,
I
you
thought,
mean waffled?
what can I say that might be of value and actually sound good? There was probably 1 minute of good stuff, and I spoke for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And then I sat down, afterwards they asked questions. I think I redeemed myself because I would like to think on the panel, I felt I was as knowledgeable
You
as
weren't just
everyone
saying
else.
is what you need to
if
do
not-
is do marketing.
Yeah.
You weren't just saying stuff like that.
Just do marketing. Facebook ads, just do them. No, so I think I did provide value and hopefully redeem myself, but that was horrible. So I just wanted to tell,
horrible.
if there's any aspiring speakers, I got through that, and within 24 hours, I basically forgot about it. So it felt horrible, but you will have some things like that feel rubbish. And like Dan said, his few months of panic attacks, the first.
Not be able to breathe properly.
Yeah.
I managed to get over that.
So have you got anything else of value to say, Dan?
One thing about nerves actually that I get asked when I post about speaking, people ask about is how do you get over nerves. The thing I found really helpful, which sounds very morbid and strange, I remember I spoke at an event a couple of years ago, and I didn't have any nerves. I used to have nerves, then I got over them. Then I suddenly started getting nerves again, and I thought, what is going on? I've gone backwards here. I'm really nervous and sweaty palms and couldn't speak properly. And then I remember reading something from, I can't remember who it was, but it was a post about nothing matters because you're going to die anyway, which sounds horrible. But then it actually got me thinking, before I go on stage, if I just think like, even if suddenly all my clothes fell off and I was naked and I was, I just, whatever. Or the most embarrassing thing.
I mean, a lot of things would have to go wrong for that to happen. Every element of your clothing goes wrong. All the stitching just comes off. All the buttons. Oh, yeah.
No, but if something really embarrassing happened, it doesn't matter because we're just all going to die in the end, and it, And then I just thought,
that ended so abruptly. I just realised what you said.
None of this matters. It's just none of it matters. So
cool.
Yeah, that was my little ending note. Very positive.
All right. Okay. Cool. Well. Thank you for listening, everyone. If you've listened this far, well done. I'm very proud of you. Got right to the end. We are absolutely loving doing this podcast, by the way. We're really enjoying it. So we would really appreciate it. If you have enjoyed it and you've listened the whole way through, we would really, really love you to rate and review us on Apple Podcasts or subscribe on Spotify, because it just helps us
Please
get
do
out
that
to
good
more
stuff.
people, and then it feels good when we're loving doing it, and it's like, oh, people are actually listening.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'd really appreciate that. Yeah, let us know. Also, any suggestions? If you've got to the
Topics and
end,
things.
you're one of the ones that's really enjoying it. We've seen you. You're about 28% that get to the end of these from the stats. Let us know in the comments on YouTube or on social media and that kind of
What
thing.
you want us to talk about.
What you want us to talk about, because we're always talking about new topics, so it'd be good to hear what you actually want to hear.
Yeah, I reckon there's interesting stuff we haven't thought of.
Yeah,
that no one talks about.
hopefully, otherwise we're going to have to stop it after 4 episodes. So, yeah. Cool. Okay, thanks for listening, guys. Bye.
Review and good stuff.
Yeah, do that good stuff. Cool.
We're just a couple of business anchors. Welcome to the Business Anchors podcast. This jingle is slightly too long. This jingle is slightly too long.